Hello there, welcome to Thrifty Journal Shop. My name is Amber. If you are just stopping by for the first time, hello, welcome. I am so glad that you are here. Today I am just continuing on with my little December series. I decided I'd do at least 12 days of Christmas, winter theme, and I'm just going to be playing around in my gingerbread journal and my trashy magazine junk glue book journal. I was inspired today with a bunch of different kind of things here, so hopefully I don't go too off on a tangent. So I thought today we would just do a little bit of memory keeping. One of the ways I like to memory keep is I like to incorporate photos into my journal. I like to use more older photos, and I've got a bunch. Some of them are Christmas themed. It's sort of inspired by this little guy. And if any of you guys grew up like in the 70s and 80s, I don't know if he looks familiar to you. He's a little Avon Plush Puppy. And I used to have a larger one. You can take off his little jacket. He's just adorable. And I'm not sure if I have the larger plush puppy. I had him on my Christmas tree, and I was looking at him and I thought, I know I've got some pictures. And so here we are. I'm just going to play around a little bit with you today. I've got this Avon magazine, and I was pulling pages from this magazine and putting them in some of my Christmas junk journals that I was making. I went through here to try to see if I could find a photo of a plush puppy, and I had no luck with that. But my grandma was an Avon manager, and so her basement was filled with Avon stuff. I had the Kirby doll. A lot of the things in here remind me of my grandma. She had all the little, she had the like little bottles of like the really horrible smelling perfume and cologne, like the stockings. And my mom still has a lot of that stuff. And then my mom sold Avon, but my grandma, she had all the Avon stuff. And it was just some really cool stuff. So this just brought back memories, the little hush puppy guy. And then I went through and I found a photo. I'm sorry, I say hush puppy. He's a plush puppy. And there's the box. And I like how this photo is rounded. Like back in the day, how the photos were rounded. So I went ahead and rounded all my photos. But some of them were rounded already. Like this is a photo of me. I don't know, I think I maybe one here. And this was already, the corners here are rounded. So here's my brother and I, and we both have our plush puppies, and this was at my grandma's house. So I just thought I would show you how I like to add photos sometimes to journals, just real simple. Here's one of my journals, and I've got a video where I flip through all my journals. I will link it down below. But just one way I just add photos to a spread is I just collage and just slap the photo on. And sometimes I might journal about that, or I just might add some words. So this was my cricket cat, and she was a sweetheart. And here she is with Santa. I used to work in a grooming shop, and so we had Santa come in. So I was in the mood to sew today. I just started sewing together a bunch of scraps of fabric. I've got some stocking here, and I was trying to get some Christmas colored fabric. And so I just sat down and started sewing these together. And then this really got me inspired to make some more scrappy fabric journals, which I think after Christmas, maybe in January, I will put some of those together and make just a journal out of a bunch of different scraps. I made a few before, and they seem to be pretty popular. They might just be like a one signature, undecorated, scrappy journal, but I love how this turned out. And so then it got me thinking about adding photos to it. And this is what I like to do. A lot of times, if you've seen it before, I've made my fabric scrappy envelopes, like security envelopes. And then, I've just taken a bunch of fabric and just scrapped it and put it on a sheet of paper and then added it to a journal. And that could be a place for you to add photos. So here's my gingerbread house journal, and I have a playlist going. I will link it down below with all the videos that I've been doing for 2024 here. And here's another little Avon bear. So this was 1979. I think I was 3 years old here. There's me just laying on the couch with the Avon bear. I had that bear for a very long time too. And so what I did here was this is a part of my dog Jazz, his stocking, and I pulled it apart, and I did hand stitch around here. So if you don't have a sewing machine, you can just hand stitch these photos. So I wanted to show you that because I'm probably going to use my sewing machine for the other ones. And then I just sewed a button on, and this is just like a little heart, and I just used my glue gun there and just added some rickrack and sewed these buttons. And so that is just a page. And you could very well over here, if I wanted to, and maybe I will, I might add to it, might do a little reminiscing and some memory keeping about Avon and my grandma and just the memories from that. Just a fun way to add photos. I love backing them with fabric. So I've got this piece of fabric here, and I've got some of these photos. Some of these are great. Like here's one a long time ago, and this was, surprisingly, I grew up downstate, like lower Michigan, and this was when even in the lower Michigan, we would get tons of snow. And I remember this day. I was probably 6 here, and I remember building this snowman with my dad. I had another photo here. Yes, here's another photo, and we built a little like dog or cat, and I'm sitting on it. So I thought today I would just put some of these photos down and sew around them and then cut them up, and then I will probably add them at some other time, and I can show you what I was going to do with them. And then here's another photo, an old photo of me and my brother in a train at the mall. They used to have the train there. So just some really great memories of being a kid and Christmas, and probably still believing in Santa at that time. I am going to lay these out, and then I did make some like just fabric clusters, and I just took a bunch of my scraps of fabric. Sometimes I'll add those just to a photo. You could just add a little scrap of fabric there, add that into your journal. I have got some buttons. Oh, and I've got some buttons I made just from scraps and some of my painty paper. Some of these are different. The colors are a little off. I thought maybe I would add those. I've got these 4 photos, and I am going to get out my fabric scissors. I sort of want to see the fabric in between them. And I'm just going to cut this apart. One of my favorite things to do is just to sew random scraps of fabric together, and then it's just all kind of wonky, and then I just go back and stitch down here. And so I've got that, and then I sew around it, or you can hand stitch. So I'm going to just cut these up, and then I'm going to play around with some stuff, and I'll be back to show you. All right, I'm back. I just wanted to show you the finished product. So I took that sheet of scrappy fabric and cut it down. And what I did here was I just sewed this photo with the plush puppy on here. And then I added this little fabric scrap here, cluster with the button. And then that would go great in a page. And if you don't sew, then you can hand stitch like I did with that other one. I would love to get into hand stitching more. I've been looking at getting some kits and stuff. I would love to make just a little journal, or just to sit down at night and just stitch. I watch a lot of people that I follow on here that do the hand stitching, and I'm just in awe. It's just beautiful. All of this could be done hand stitching, and that is just using different scraps of fabric. And then this would be great way to memory keep, and then you could just add it to a page. I could add it here which I might do, and then journal about it in here. A great way to use photos. Here is another one that I did, and I just love the scrappy look. And then I just added some rickrack. I'm out of red rickrack, so I just had the green left. And then just made this little cluster here with the button. I just glued that on. And then I've got this one, and I added some more fabric to the top here. And then here's one of my acrylic buttons. And then I just added some blue rickrack there. And there is another little page that you can just add to a journal. And what would even be really cool is just to make a bunch of these pages and make a journal out of all of these. I don't know, that would be something cool to like hand stitch. Maybe I'll do that, make like a fabric page journal. I've been thinking about that too. And then lastly, I've got this one. I just added this little piece of trim here with these little beads and lace. So I've got these pretty pictures backed with just some fabric and just some clusters, and just what a fun way to do some memory keeping and add some texture to a page and some color and adding fabric. I'm really curious. You guys will have to leave a comment in my box down below if you had a plush puppy, or if you knew of the plush puppies through Avon, or an Avon bear. Or if you like grew up with your grandma or your mom selling Avon, leave a comment down below. I would love to know. I'd love to hear some stories. So I hope this inspired you to just, pull out your photos. They don't have to be old photos. They can just be any kind of photos, and play around with some fabrics and maybe some hand stitching or with your sewing machine, and add some clusters and buttons and trims and just whatever. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I think I'm almost to 1,000 subscribers, and I am going to do something at some point here, probably after Christmas, for the 1,000 subscribers. I do have a plan for that. So I hope you are all doing well. I hope you get outside today and enjoy some beauty. The sun is coming out over here, which is beautiful. And I hope you find some time to play around with some scraps and create. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.